Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're in Kilkenny City. This is Kilkenny Castle, and I'm here to tell you the story of the Witch of Kilkenny, Dame Alice Kyteler. And we're going to bring you to what is now the Kyteler Inn, but it is actually where she lived and where she ran her own pub. And I'm going to tell you the story as well. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel for this special spooky Halloween story. How appropriate. This story is about a witch, and we are here where she was born in 1280 to Kilkenny wealthy Norman parents. 44 years later, in 1324, she fled to England to escape being burned as a witch, and in July of that year her property, including Kyteler's Inn here, was confiscated. In investigating years, Dame Alice had married 4 times, has been mistress of Kyteler's Inn, and had become a central figure in a battle between the Church and the Templar power in Ireland. So let's get into the story. Dame Alice's first husband was William Outlaw, a local banker, and they had a son who they also called William. Now he was to feature strongly in the saga of her life. Her husband took ill and died suddenly within just a few years of marriage. Shortly afterwards, Alice married her second wealthy husband, Adam the Blund of Callan, a moneylender who soon also died suddenly and mysteriously. Having inherited 2 substantial fortunes, the now very wealthy Alice married Richard the Valle. Now, Richard the Valle was a wealthy Tipperary landowner, and again before his death, her son William benefited financially from the marriage. Sometime before 1316, Richard the Valle had died, and Alice took legal proceedings against her stepson, also called Richard the Valle, for withholding her widow's dower. By 1324, when she was already being accused of witchcraft, Alice had acquired a 4th husband, the knight Sir John Le Poire. Now it was her marriage to Sir John, her 4th husband, who unwittingly began a chain of events that would lead to Alice being convicted on charges of witchcraft before an ecclesiastical court. Some years after his marriage to Alice, landowner Sir John Le Poire showed signs of illness. His hair and nails fell out, and he became weak and sickly. Shortly before he succumbed to death, he changed his will to benefit of Alice and her son William, an act which resulted in the anger and resentment among his other family members. Alice's stepchildren had become angry and suspicious, and they came to the conclusion that she was practicing witchcraft, and she had somehow put a spell on Sir John Le Poire and convinced him to change his will so she and her son would benefit. Now, witchcraft was a form of magic, and magic had always existed in one form or another. Popular medicine was often based on herbal preparations made by good witches. The idea of witchcraft as an inversion of Christianity, however, came to the fore in the 11th or 12th century. And in the latter part of the 13th century, the church began to view witchcraft as heresy, as devil worship, rather than the performance of a magical ritual. So this is downstairs in Kyteler's Inn, and it is the oldest part of the inn. As we said, this was first established by the notorious Dame Alice de Kyteler in the 13th century. So as I said, Dame Alice Kyteler was born here in Kilkenny in the year 1263, the daughter of a Norman banker, and in her time she gained much notoriety. And I will get into the story as we walk around. We put a light on just to, wow, what is the blue showing up? Okay, let's hope it's just a reflection of the lights that are here already. Maybe we'll turn it off again. But it is very, very dark and eerie. Because this place is said to be haunted, Grave Visitations decided to do his own vigil here. And what he caught is amazing.
Dame Kyteler, if you're here, speak.
So as I said, the witch of Kilkenny lived here and actually ran a pub that her father actually built. So we're going to go upstairs again. So Alice's stepchildren brought their claims to the ecclesiastical authorities in 1324. Bishop of Ossory, Richard Ledered, would take their accusation. Ledered had been waiting for a chance to zealously defend the jurisdictions and liberties of the church. So Dame Alice and her associates had 7 charges brought against them: denial of Christ and the church, the dismemberment of living animals and offering them as sacrifice, so the help of a demon, the son of art, could be secured, theft of church keys, so Alice and her associates could hold meetings there at night, placement of vile items inside a robber's skull, use of the aforementioned brew to make potions that would prompt their consumers to afflict, hate and kill Christians. Alice carried an incubus that appeared as a black man, shaggy dog or cat that gave her wealth, and the use of sorcery to infatuate her husbands or murder them so that all their possessions went to herself and her son. His lordship convened a court of inquisition, which included 5 knights and several noblemen, which heard the evidence that Alice headed a coven of witches and had sex with a demon called Artisan. What followed next was a legal and political battle in which Bishop Ledered tried but failed to get the temporal authority to arrest and condemn Alice, her son William Outlaw, and several of her friends and servants. The bishop, however, was himself arrested and imprisoned in Kilkenny jail, but on his release he continued his campaign demanding that Alice appear before him. She wisely refused and promptly left for England, returning a year later to Dublin, where she urged the Archbishop to condemn the Bishop of Ossory for unlawfully excommunicating her. A showdown between the Commissioner and Bishop Ledered took place in Dublin and ended with the Bishop returning to Kilkenny, from where he demanded that Alice be arrested. Alice was held here in the dungeons of Kilkenny Castle, where in those medieval times, for one to be found guilty of witchcraft was a most serious offence, and one that carried the sentence of death. Dame Alice and her disciples were condemned to be whipped through the streets, tied at the back of a horse and cart, after which Alice, as chief priestess and investigator, would be burned at the stake. On the night before Alice's execution, Alice summoned her maid Petronella with some last requests of food. However, in the jail cell here in Kilkenny, Alice knocked poor Petronella unconscious and exchanged her clothing for hers. She then called on the guards, telling them she wished to leave. The guard let Alice out, presuming she was in fact Petronella. And Dame Alice was released from the dungeons beneath Kilkenny Castle and freed from the sentence of death that hung over her. The Kilkenny witchcraft trials did, however, take place. William Outlaw was convicted and ordered by Bishop Ledered to attend 3 masses every day and give alms to the poor. He was also made to repair the roof of St. Canice's Cathedral as punishment. This light sentence was in sharp contrast to the torture handed out to the less wealthy friends of Alice, including her maid, Petronella, on the 3rd of November 1324. To satisfy the crowd, Petronella was made take Alice's place. She was tortured, whipped and finally burned at the stake, and so making Petronella de Meath the first woman in Ireland burned. Alice disappeared from history following her second escape to England in 1324. So guys, this is St. Canice's Cathedral and Round Tower. Now, we visited here before and I actually have a video on my channel where I actually walk up into that tower there, so if you want to check it out. But the reason we are here today is there's a gravestone in here, and it's the gravestone of Alice Kyteler, father of Alice, the witch of Kilkenny. Now, it was discovered on the high street of Kilkenny in 1864, and they've actually brought it in here now. We have already checked, and unfortunately the cathedral is closed. Right, so guys, so that's the end of the video from Kilkenny City here outside St. Canice's Cathedral. This video is already on my channel. Thanks to the pub for letting us in to video and the amazing story of the Witch of Kilkenny. And was she a witch? You know, very mysterious how all her husbands died, but her servants certainly paid the price, and she was burnt. Tortured beforehand. It's awful gruesome stuff from medieval times. But for now, guys, take care, God bless. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like and the notification bell. That will help you know when I upload or when I go live. But for now, take care, God bless, and I'll talk to you all soon.